The heart has its reasons which reason knows nothing of. Blaise Pascal. Have you ever sat across from a woman and something just clicked? The conversation flows like music, her smile lingers, and there's a warmth in the way she looks at you, as if you're more than just another face in the crowd. And yet, that voice in your head whispers, is this real interest or am I reading too much into it? The truth is, most women won't come out and say it. Attraction isn't always announced with fireworks. It hides in the pauses between words, in the way she leans in or how her voice softens when she says your name. These signals aren't loud, but they're deliberate. And the men who learn to read them, they hold the upper hand. So in today's video, we're going to expose the quiet clues, the gestures, the glances, the subtle invitations that reveal when a woman secretly likes you. No more confusion, no more overthinking. Let's dive in. Sign 1. Her eyes linger on you more than they should. In a world where attention is the most valuable currency, the gaze of a woman speaks volumes louder than her words. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, her eyes will betray her before her voice does. Not just once, not just by accident, but consistently, and for longer than what is socially expected. You'll notice it when you're talking to someone else and you feel that inexplicable pull, that silent glance from across the room that lands on you like gravity. You turn, and there she is, eyes locked in, not blinking, not flinching. That's not random, that's deliberate, that's interesting. Most men miss this. They're too distracted, too doubtful, or too caught up in self-questioning. But the modern Stoic doesn't beg for attention. He watches, he calculates, he remains unmoved until the pattern reveals itself. And this is one of the most primal patterns in the psychology of attraction. Eye contact with emotional tension. When she looks at you and doesn't look away immediately, when her pupils dilate slightly, when there's a softness in her eyes that borders on vulnerability, that's not just politeness, that's a subconscious signal. As the Stoic Epictetus once said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If you are the kind of man women are drawn to, you must be the kind of man who can read what is unspoken. There's science behind this too. Studies in psychology have shown that prolonged eye contact increases intimacy and attraction. In one famous experiment by psychologist Arthur Aaron, strangers who stared into each other's eyes for just 4 minutes reported increased feelings of closeness and even love. Now imagine what it means when a woman is doing this unconsciously, repeatedly, just with you. Here's a real-life example. You walk into a meeting or a social gathering. You feel a slight tension in the air, like someone's watching. You scan the room. She looks away just as you notice. Minutes later it happens again, but this time she doesn't break the connection. She's scanning your face like she's memorizing the shape of your soul. Her glance is no longer casual. It's investigative. It's lingering. And when you smile, her lips part ever so slightly as if her body forgot to play it cool. That's the power of the gaze. That's feminine attraction in disguise. But here's the twist. Women are masters of plausible deniability. She may never say a word. She might even pretend she wasn't looking at all. That's why the modern Stoic must be a master of perception. You don't need to confront. You don't need to chase. You simply need to notice, to let your awareness be your advantage. Marcus Aurelius said it best. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. So what matters is not just that she looks, but how often, how deeply, and how long. Now let's talk about the strategy. What should you do when you catch her in the act of looking? Don't overreact. Don't rush over to validate yourself. Instead, maintain composure. Hold the gaze for half a second longer than normal, then break it with calm confidence. Let her feel that you noticed, but you're not desperate for confirmation. That moment plants a seed, one where she wonders, did he feel what I felt? Does he know? And that curiosity builds tension. Tension is attraction's favourite playground. Attraction, especially from women, is rarely loud. It's a whisper in a crowded room. It's a glance that lasts half a breath longer. the average man sees nothing. The modern Stoic sees everything, but speaks only when it matters. So next time you find yourself in the presence of a woman whose eyes linger, don't look away. Don't second guess. Recognize the sign for what it is, a door slightly ajar. You don't have to barge through it. But a true man of wisdom never ignores an open door. Quote to remember: when the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Rumi. Even her silence, even her stare speaks volumes, if you have the strength to listen. Sign 2. She mirrors your movements without realizing it. There is a strange and powerful force that takes over the human body when desire awakens. Unconscious mimicry. When a woman is secretly into you, she starts to mirror your movements, your posture, even your tone of voice, and she doesn't even realize she's doing it. This is one of the most psychologically revealing signs of hidden attraction. It's primal, involuntary, and far more telling than anything she might say. When a woman mirrors your behavior, it's her body's way of building rapport without using words. She crosses her legs the moment you do. She touches her face right after you scratch your beard. You lean forward, and seconds later, she leans in too. This is the subconscious whisper of attraction, a physical alignment that signals connection, interest, and emotional harmony. You might ask, why does this matter? Because no one mirrors someone they're indifferent to. Mimicry happens when a person's brain starts syncing with yours. It's a phenomenon grounded in what neuroscientists call mirror neurons, the same mechanisms that allow humans to feel empathy, build bonds, and unconsciously reflect the behaviors of those they're emotionally attuned to. In romantic attraction, this becomes even more pronounced. The Stoic man doesn't just observe the surface, he watches the deeper rhythms beneath the social mask. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts, and in this case, her physical responses are being dyed by the presence of your energy. She is absorbing your frequency, your rhythm, your essence, and her body, without permission from her mind, starts to reflect it back. Let's paint a scenario. You're sitting across from her at dinner. You pick up your glass. Within 2 seconds, she picks up hers. You shift your weight slightly in your chair. She mirrors that shift almost immediately. Now, this isn't performance or manipulation, it's instinct, and that instinct is one of bonding. The deeper her emotional attraction, the more closely her body begins to follow your lead. But here's what separates the modern Stoic from the average man. You don't point it out, and you don't gloat. You observe. You gather data. You allow her behavior to reveal the truth without needing verbal confirmation. Women often use words to shield their vulnerability, but their bodies will always tell the truth. As Friedrich Nietzsche once said, there is more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy. It's important not to confuse mirroring with politeness or coincidence. A woman who's merely being friendly may laugh, may engage, may even lean in, but she won't synchronize. Synchronization requires emotional investment. So look for clusters of mirrored behavior, not just once, but repeatedly. Posture, gestures, speech tempo. The more consistent the mirroring, the deeper the attraction. Here's another real-world example. You're both walking side by side. You slow your pace. She slows too. You stop and pivot toward a storefront. She instinctively pivots at the same angle. You cross your arms. She does too, not as a defensive gesture, but as a sign of emotional alignment. This is not manipulation. This is the body's way of whispering, I feel safe with you, I'm attuned to you. And what should the Stoic man do when he detects this? First, respect the moment. Don't act cocky or arrogant. Mirror her back once or twice, subtly, to build rapport, but never overplay it. Second, stay composed. Attraction should never make you lose your center. The woman who mirrors you is telling you that you already lead her without forcing it. Your grounded energy is pulling her in, and she's following that pull. The real alpha doesn't chase, he aligns. He creates gravitational pull, and her mirroring is a sure sign you've already done that. Quote to remember, people don't remember what you say or do, they remember how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. And when a woman begins to mirror you, It's because your presence has started to shape her emotional state. That's not a coincidence. That's power. Sign 3. She finds reasons to be around you, even when she doesn't have to. One of the most telling signs that a woman secretly likes you is not what she says. It's where she places herself. A woman who is drawn to you will engineer opportunities, subtly, cleverly, and repeatedly, to be near you. Not because she has to, not because she needs anything, but because her desire, quiet and deliberate, pulls her into your orbit. She will find excuses to just happen to be there. In psychology, this is called proximity bias. The more we are exposed to someone we're attracted to, the deeper that attraction can grow. And when a woman initiates this closeness, pay attention. It's a clear signal. Modern Stoics understand this. Attention is deliberate. Presence is a decision. Time is not wasted, it is invested. When a woman repeatedly places herself in your vicinity, she is investing in possibility. She doesn't say it directly, but her movements say everything. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. In her case, she doesn't declare her interest. She demonstrates it by showing up again and again. Let me give you a real-world picture. You're at the gym, you have your routine, your schedule, but then there she is, not once, not twice, but consistently, always within range. Same hour, same section. Maybe you're at a coffee shop downtown on Friday mornings, and suddenly she's just passing through. But now it's a pattern. Maybe at work she walks the long route just to pass your desk with a question that probably could have been answered by email. These aren't accidents. They're intentional movements masked as coincidence. It's subtle, and that's what makes it so easy to miss for the average man. But you are not average. You are aware. You are still. You are watching the map behind the movement. She's orbiting your gravity and pretending it's casual. That's the feminine way. Movement cloaked in mystery, desire disguised as circumstance. Let's go deeper. Why does this happen? Because the female psyche values emotional safety and subtlety. She may not approach you directly. That risks exposure. But if she places herself within reach, she gives you the opportunity to engage on neutral ground. It's a test of awareness and confidence. A man unaware will miss it. A man insecure will question it. But the stoic man will register the pattern, hold his ground, and calmly let it unfold. This is your advantage. You don't need to chase. You don't need to interrogate. You just need to notice and act only when the moment is aligned. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." That means, when the world offers you signs, your power lies in staying centered, not reactive. Let me sharpen this with a scenario. Imagine you're at a networking event. She arrives with someone else, but over the next hour, her location keeps shifting closer to yours. At first, she's across the room, then 5 feet away. Then she's in the circle next to yours, laughing just a little too loud at the group jokes, glancing over to see if you're noticing. She bumps into you at the bar or stands beside you during a break. No bold move, no direct invitation, just presence. Intentional, quiet presence. Now, the question is, what should you do? The answer is simple. Honor her presence without losing your frame. Engage lightly. Acknowledge her initiative with your confidence, not your neediness. You are the flame. She is drawing closer to your heat. Your job is not to chase her, it's to maintain the fire she's clearly seeking. Quote to remember, "When you want wisdom and insight as badly as you want to breathe, it is then you shall have it." Socrates, if you want to understand women, watch where they choose to be, not where they say they're going. Their feet will speak louder than their lips. Sign 4. She laughs at your jokes, even when they're not that funny. Laughter is not always about humour, it's about connection. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, her laughter becomes more than just a social response. It becomes an emotional reveal. You'll notice it in the way she giggles at your simplest remarks, how she erupts in laughter even when your joke didn't land perfectly, how she leans in, eyes sparkling, looking for reasons to stay in the moment with you. This isn't just about being polite. It's her attraction bubbling to the surface, playful, spontaneous, and completely unguarded. Let's get one thing straight. Women don't fake laughter easily, at least not repeatedly. Yes, social laughter exists, but this is something else. This is laughter as flirtation, laughter as invitation. As the French philosopher Voltaire once said, "Let us read and let us dance. These two amusements will never do any harm to the world." I'd add, let us laugh, especially when that laughter is aimed at someone we're drawn to. Now, understand this. Humour is a key signal of compatibility. If a woman laughs at your jokes, it's not always because the joke is good, it's because you make her feel good. It's your presence, your vibe, your masculine confidence that makes the ordinary feel light and magnetic. Her laughter is not always about the content, it's about the energy. She's laughing not because of the punchline, but because of how you said it, how you smiled when you said it, and how it made her feel momentarily disarmed. Let's take a real-life example. You're standing in line at a grocery store. You crack a light-hearted comment about the long wait. She's next to you. She hears it, chuckles, not just politely, but as if you just delivered a stand-up routine. Her eyes linger. She adds something back, and the exchange builds from there. The average man would say, "She's just friendly." The modern Stoic says, that was emotional openness disguised as shared humour. Here's another case. You're with a group. You make a joke, everyone laughs lightly, but she laughs loudest. And she glances at you to see if you're noticing her reaction. That's not random. That's not habit. That's attraction leaking through the seams. But why does this happen biologically? Because humour is a status display, a form of verbal intelligence. In evolutionary psychology, a man who can make others laugh signals intelligence, emotional mastery, and the ability to shift energy, traits deeply attractive to women. When she laughs with you, she's unconsciously saying, "I feel safe. I feel good. I feel connected." And that's the gold. Now let's tie this back to Stoic wisdom. Seneca once wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." In attraction, laughter is a kind of kindness. It's emotional generosity. When she offers you her laughter, she is offering a part of her spirit. A modern Stoic doesn't take this lightly. He doesn't gloat. He doesn't become a court jester. He recognizes it for what it is, a signal that she is emotionally investing in the experience of being around him. So what should you do when this happens? Don't downplay it. Don't self-deprecate. Receive her laughter with quiet confidence. Smile with relaxed awareness. Say something like, "You've got a great laugh." Just enough to acknowledge the connection without chasing it. The goal is not to be funny. The goal is to be present, to hold space where joy naturally flows. And when she laughs freely in your presence, it means you've already created that space. Here's the bottom line. Laughter doesn't lie. You can fake a smile. You can say the right words. But spontaneous laughter, that's raw truth. That's emotion skipping the filter. That's attraction with the volume turned up. Quote to remember, "The most wasted of all days is one without laughter." E. Cummings. And if she's laughing around you when the rest of the world isn't, she's not wasting her day. She's giving it to you. Sign 5. She finds excuses to touch you, even subtly. Touch is not just physical. It's emotional electricity. It is one of the deepest, oldest, and most primal languages of human connection. When a woman is secretly attracted to you, her body begins to speak before her words can. She finds small, almost imperceptible excuses to breach your personal space. And the key word here is excuse. Her fingers graze your arm when she laughs, her knee brushes yours when you sit side by side, or she reaches out to adjust your shirt collar when it doesn't need adjusting at all. These moments are never about utility. They are about intimacy in disguise. Men who are asleep miss this sign. They assume it's polite or accidental, but the modern Stoic is awake, alert, and emotionally intelligent. He knows that women, Especially those who are emotionally guarded or cautious rarely use direct language when it comes to attraction. Instead, they test, they reach, they feel. And when she reaches out to touch you, she's saying something she hasn't yet found the words for. I feel drawn to you, and I want to know how you'll respond. The ancient Stoic Epictetus once said, "Nature has given man one tongue, but two ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak." But when it comes to attraction, we need a third sense, touch, and we must listen to it carefully. Her touch, even when brief, reveals her openness. Her body is asking a question. Is this connection safe? Is it real? Will he hold his ground or crumble beneath the tension? Let's ground this in a real-life situation. You're standing in line for coffee. You make a casual joke. She laughs, then taps your shoulder lightly, just a second too long. She didn't need to touch you. It added nothing to the conversation, but it added everything to the meaning. Or perhaps you're walking through a store. You pause to look at something, and she's beside you, closer than necessary. Her hand rests briefly on your arm as she points to something irrelevant. You move slightly, and she follows your movement as if tied to your energy. That's no accident. That's desire wearing the mask of coincidence. Now, here's where power lies. How you react. The immature man gets excited, thinking every touch is a green light. The insecure man becomes awkward, afraid of misreading the moment. But the modern Stoic, he stays grounded. He feels the contact, absorbs it with awareness, and returns warm presence, not need. He does not lean in to chase. He does not recoil to avoid. He remains centered, and that, paradoxically, draws her in even deeper. Because what women are searching for, consciously or not, is not just a man to touch, but a man who doesn't flinch when touched. They want to know, can you hold your masculine frame when feminine energy tests your composure? There's a deeper level here too. When a woman initiates physical contact, she's not just reaching for you. She's reaching for confirmation of her own emotions. She wants to know if what she's feeling is real, if her attraction is mirrored, if her body is safe in your presence, and your reaction becomes her answer. Think of it this way. In a world full of meaningless handshakes, obligatory hugs, and performative politeness, intentional touch is sacred. Especially when it's subtle, especially when it's repeated, and when she chooses to bridge that invisible space between her body and yours. It's her way of testing the waters of intimacy without saying a word. This is your moment to lead, not by action, but by energy. Hold eye contact, smile with certainty, say little, do even less, but feel everything. Because when she touches you, she's not touching skin, she's touching your emotional stability. Quote to remember, "The body never lies." Palauthein, Martha Graham. And when her body moves toward yours, you don't need to speak. You need to notice. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you stoic. Sign 6. She gives you undivided attention, even in a room full of distractions. In today's hyper-stimulated world, attention is more valuable than gold. People scroll while talking. They nod while texting. They live in 10 open tabs mentally and emotionally. So when a woman gives you her full, undivided attention, that's no small thing. It's a profound signal. If she secretly likes you, you will notice that her focus sharpens around you. Her eyes don't wander. Her body orients toward you. She listens, not just to respond, but to absorb. That level of presence isn't accidental. It's personal. When a woman is attracted to you, everything in her body language aligns. Her shoulders face you, her knees point in your direction, her gaze locks onto you like you're the only man in the room. You could be at a dinner party, a networking event, or just standing in line. The noise fades for her, and it's like her world has zoomed in on you. Her phone is away, her mind is engaged, and she's hanging on to every word, not because your words are divine, but because your presence is magnetic. And here's the Stoic truth. No one pays deep attention unless they're emotionally invested. The average woman may smile, nod, or exchange pleasantries, but a woman who wants you won't just hear your words. She'll study your pauses, remember your phrasing, laugh at your subtleties. She's not multitasking you, she's locked in. And as Marcus Aurelius said, nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. When a woman sees peace in your presence, she steps into it fully. Let's consider a real-world example. You're out with mutual friends at a gathering. Conversation bounces from one topic to another, but she always circles back to you. She listens when you speak, truly listens, while others are half engaged. She nods slowly, asks follow-up questions, mirrors your energy. When someone else speaks, she glances, but when you speak, she lingers. That's not etiquette, that's emotional priority. Or maybe you're in a busy environment, noisy cafe, crowded hallway, workplace chaos, and she still gives you her full face, full eyes, and full attention. That is not normal. That is focus powered by emotional gravity. Her attention has chosen you. Her senses are prioritizing your energy above everything else, and that's not something that can be faked for long. Let's break this down psychologically. Humans are biologically wired to notice what we're emotionally invested in. That's why a mother can hear her baby's cry in a stadium. That's why someone in love can feel the room fade when the other walks in. It's called selective attention. And when she gives it to you, without being asked, without being prompted, you are no longer background noise in her world. You've become the signal. The modern Stoic doesn't get giddy when this happens. He doesn't rush to capitalize on it. He holds the frame. He respects her attention, but does not need it. He notices her investment, but stays grounded in his own. As Epictetus advised, seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves. So when she gives you her eyes, her presence, her mind, receive it with calm, not craving. What does this look like in action? It's simple. Speak with purpose. Don't perform. Don't try to impress. Just be fully present in return. Let her attention mirror your own emotional stability. That contrast between the chaos of the world and the calm of your presence is what deepens the connection. A woman feels safe in focus, and if you can hold her attention without force, she will crave your presence more than any sweet words you could ever say. Quote to remember: the greatest gift you can give someone is your undivided attention. Jim Rohn. When she gives it to you freely, without needing anything in return, that's not just interest. It's an invitation to enter a more intimate orbit of her world. Sign 7. She opens up emotionally, even when she didn't plan to. There's a moment often unnoticed by the untrained eye when a woman drops her guard, not by accident, but by instinct. When a woman secretly likes you, she begins to open up emotionally in ways she didn't intend. She shares something personal, something vulnerable, something that reveals who she really is, not just the polished version the world sees. And she does it because she feels seen. She does it because your presence disarms her defenses. A woman's emotional openness is not given freely. It must be earned. Most men never get past her surface, her curated stories, her social mask, but when she starts to let the conversation turn inward, when her voice softens, when her tone shifts, when her eyes grow serious or nostalgic, that's not just casual sharing. That's emotional exposure. And in the world of attraction, this is sacred ground. The Stoics knew the importance of depth. As Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When a woman lets you into her real story, the wounds, the fears, the moments she hides from others, it's because she feels safer with you than she does alone with her own thoughts. That's rare. That's powerful. Picture this. You're having a light conversation, jokes, banter, stories. Suddenly she shifts. You know, she says, I've never really told anyone this, but... And she proceeds to share a childhood memory, a recent heartbreak, a dream she's afraid to chase, or a struggle that still haunts her. That pivot from surface to soul is not random. It's relational gravity. She doesn't do that with everyone. She's doing it with you because her emotional instincts are saying, he can hold this. Women test the emotional waters before they dive. When she shares something deep, she's watching to see how you react. Will you interrupt? Will you try to fix it? Will you look away? Or will you sit still, grounded, and fully present with her words, no matter how raw they get? The modern Stoic does not flinch at emotion. He does not shrink from vulnerability. He receives it, not with sympathy, but with strength. He holds space. He listens, and by doing that, he becomes the anchor she didn't know she needed. Here's another real-life example. You're texting casually, and out of nowhere, she tells you she's been having a hard day. She opens up about stress at work, or the loss of a loved one, or doubts about her worth. That's not a complaint. That's not weakness. That's a coded invitation to connect deeper. If she's telling you, it means you've crossed from stranger into inner circle. Now, don't misunderstand. Emotional openness doesn't always look like tears and heartbreak. Sometimes it's in the details. She tells you about her dreams, her fears, her family, her past relationships, not in bitterness, but in reflection. She's revealing the blueprint of who she is, and if you're wise enough to listen, she's letting you see her before she gives you access to more. The modern Stoic understands this. Attraction that's rooted in emotional safety is far more powerful than physical tension. A man who can handle a woman's truth without judgment is more seductive than one who only compliments her appearance. Why? Because emotional intimacy is the gateway to physical desire, especially for women. So how should you respond? First, do not minimize. Don't say it's not that bad or try to distract her. Instead, let your silence be your strength. Nod. Reflect. Say, "Thanks for sharing that." Let her feel that you're a vault, not a leak, that her truth is safe with you. Second, don't probe. If she wants to tell you more, she will. Let her lead. You don't earn more by asking. You earn it by respecting what she's already given. Quote to remember: being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Lao Tzu. And when a woman starts to open up to you, even quietly, it's because you've already shown the kind of strength her soul can lean on. Sign 8. She remembers the little things you say. In a world where attention spans are collapsing and most conversations evaporate the moment they end, there is one unmistakable sign of interest that cannot be faked. A woman who remembers the smallest things you say is a woman who has mentally and emotionally marked you. It's that simple. If she brings up a random detail you mentioned 2 weeks ago, your favourite sandwich, the story about your old dog, or your comment about wanting to visit Iceland someday, you are no longer just another man. You are significant. When a woman remembers small details, it means she was fully present when you spoke, and not only present, but engaged, emotionally tuned in and storing information because it mattered to her. People don't remember what doesn't emotionally affect them. So if she's bringing up something you didn't even think she noticed, it's because you've taken up space in her mental world. And that's where attraction begins. Let's cut through the noise. Most people talk to respond, not to understand. They listen for pauses, not meaning. But a woman who is secretly attracted to you will listen with intent, not obligation. She doesn't just hear you, she records you. She reflects on your words later. Your opinions, habits, quirks, they stick with her, not because she's trying, but because she can't help it. The great poet Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." When she recalls something small you said, it's because you made her feel something in that moment, something she didn't want to forget. That emotion wrapped around your words and anchored them in her mind. Here's a real-life example. You mention, offhandedly, that you don't drink coffee after 4 p.m. 2 weeks later, she hands you a green tea and says, "Didn't you say you avoid caffeine in the evening?" Or maybe you tell her about your childhood dream of becoming a pilot, and months later, she sends you a link to an aviation documentary. That's not small talk. That's emotional targeting. Her attention is no longer generic, it's personal. Why does this happen? Because when a woman starts to emotionally invest in you, her mind starts to organise itself around your presence. Your voice becomes a thread in her inner dialogue. The details you share become chapters in the story she's building about you in her mind, and she'll start to reference those details to connect, to tease, or to build shared meaning between the two of you. That's not casual, that's attachment forming. The modern Stoic notices this, but doesn't gloat. He sees it for what it is, a signal, not a guarantee. He stays calm, grounded and focused, not on what it means in the short term, but on how consistently it shows up. Because emotional investment is not always loud, sometimes it arrives wrapped in memory. A woman who remembers the little things is saying, without saying, "You matter to me." So how should you respond? First, acknowledge it subtly. A small smile, a warm, "You remembered that." Not neediness, not excessive praise, just genuine appreciation. Let her see that you recognize the depth of her attention and value it. Second, reciprocate selectively. Show her you also notice something about her. Not everything. Just enough to show that your awareness is just as sharp, just as intentional. And most importantly, don't overlook this signal. In a world of shallow connections, true attention is one of the highest forms of affection. It's how emotional bonds are formed, one remembered word at a time. Quote to remember: "Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity." Enten, Simone Weil. And when she gives it to you, not just now, but in remembering what you said days or weeks ago, she's not just being nice. She's revealing that her heart has started to listen, along with her ears. Sign 9. Her body faces you, even when her words don't. In the theatre of attraction, words can mislead, but the body never lies. One of the most revealing, yet often ignored signs that a woman secretly likes you is this: her body consistently faces you, even when her words, her friends, or her attention seem to be elsewhere. Her feet point toward you. Her shoulders are angled in your direction. Her torso aligns with yours, across a room or in a group setting. These are not conscious decisions. They are instinctive indicators of where her emotional compass is pointing. You. In body language psychology, this is known as orientation behavior, a powerful subconscious cue that reveals interest, openness, and attraction. It signals that her subconscious is choosing you as the focal point, even when her conscious mind tries to stay composed. When a woman is truly drawn to a man, her body moves toward him as if by gravitational pull. And while her words might dance in neutral, her body quietly testifies, "I feel safe here. I want to be closer." Now understand this. Women are experts at playing things cool, especially when they don't want their feelings to be obvious. But the body speaks in ways the ego cannot censor. And for the modern Stoic, this is where power lies. While other men listen only to what is spoken, you are attuned to the invisible. You watch, you read, you decode. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Observe always that everything is the result of change, and get used to thinking that there is nothing nature loves so well as to change existing forms and to make new ones like them." Attraction, too, is a gradual shift in form. Unspoken, invisible, often denied by the mouth, but confirmed by posture, stillness, and presence. And when her body begins to face you without prompt or reason, that change has already begun. Let's bring this to life with a scenario. You're sitting in a group, she's talking to someone else, but her knees are aimed toward you. You shift your position slightly, and moments later, she subtly adjusts hers to match. She may be answering someone's question, but her torso remains angled in your direction. Her body is not following the conversation. It's following you. That's alignment. That's attraction hiding in plain sight. Or picture this. You're in a public space, a coffee shop, a networking event, a casual meetup. You move to one side of the room, and a few minutes later, she finds herself in proximity again, body tilted slightly towards you, as if drawn. She's not chasing. She's not declaring. She's aligning. And you, if you're wise, will notice without needing to react. Why does this matter? Because the body follows desire, and it does so involuntarily. Her orientation toward you is a deeper form of communication than flirty words or social smiles. This is her subconscious choosing closeness. Physical, emotional, and energetic, before she has fully admitted it to herself. The modern Stoic doesn't pounce on these signs. He doesn't make it awkward or obvious. He acknowledges the pattern silently. He maintains his grounding, knowing that attraction built on presence, not pressure, is the strongest kind. You don't need to dominate a conversation or be the loudest in the room. You simply need to stand still long enough for her instincts to find you. And when they do, you'll feel it, not in what she says, but in how she orients herself to you repeatedly, across time and setting. That repetition is the truth. Her body keeps facing you because her emotions are pulling her in, quietly, consistently, and undeniably. Quote to remember: "We do not remember days, we remember moments." Cesare Pavese. And the moment her body starts turning toward you, again and again, is the moment her mind begins writing you into her story. Sign 10. She playfully challenges you, but watches closely for your reaction. When a woman secretly likes you, she may not always shower you with sweetness. In fact, one of the clearest yet most misunderstood signs of attraction is when she playfully challenges you, teases you, questions your opinions, or lightly mocks something you said or did. This isn't rejection. This is testing, flirting under the mask of resistance. And if you understand female psychology, you'll know. This is her way of inviting you to show strength, wit, and grounded presence. Most men panic when women challenge them. They either get defensive or retreat. But the modern Stoic understands this for what it is: emotional sparring, a test of masculine resilience. She doesn't want a man who agrees with everything she says. She wants a man who can hold his own without losing his composure. As Seneca wrote, "Fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men." And playful teasing is her way of throwing emotional fire, not to burn you, but to see if you're gold. Let's break this down. When a woman is attracted to you but doesn't want to be too obvious, she'll often tease instead of compliment. She'll say things like, "Is that your best pickup line?" Or, "You're so full of yourself, aren't you?" Or, "Wow, that shirt is bold." On the surface, it's mockery, but underneath, it's intrigue. She's watching to see if you collapse, if you chase approval, or if you can stay unshaken and smile through it with confidence, if you pass the test. If you remain calm, humorous, and lightly tease her back, you've just unlocked a deeper level of attraction. Real-world scenario, you're talking, and she interrupts with sarcasm. "You don't actually believe that, do you?" The weak man backpedals. The insecure man just agrees to keep the peace. But the stoic man, he smiles, leans in slightly, and replies, "Completely. But now I'm interested to hear how wrong I am." That's presence, that's calm strength, and that's irresistibly attractive. Why does this work? Because women are deeply intuitive. They don't want a man they can overpower emotionally. They want a man who can challenge them back, but with poise. When she teases you, she's searching for your emotional leadership. She wants to know, can you stay centered when I push you off balance? Can you maintain playfulness under pressure? Will you laugh with me or crumble beneath me? The modern Stoic never views these moments as conflict. He sees them as connection cloaked in chaos. He embraces the challenge, not with ego, but with elegance. He understands that a teasing woman is an engaged woman. If she didn't care, she'd be silent. If she wasn't interested, she wouldn't bother to provoke. Her challenge is attention, and attention is investment. It's important to recognize when and how she challenges you. Is she joking after you make a bold statement? Is she nudging you when you talk about your hobbies? Is she daring you to defend your taste in movies, your gym routine, your life philosophy? Don't shrink. Don't explain. Own it. Lightly reverse the frame. Invite the sparring. That's how polarity is created. And attraction intensifies. But also remember, this is not an invitation to dominate or insult. It's an invitation to dance with tension, humor, charm, restraint. That's the trio of high-value masculine energy in the face of feminine challenge. Quote to remember, "A woman's highest calling is to lead a man to his soul, so as to unite him with Source. A man's highest calling is to protect woman so she is free to walk the earth unharmed. David Dada. And when she playfully pushes you, it's because her soul is testing yours. If you stand firm, not in anger, but in peace, you've already passed. Sign 11. She mirrors your energy, even when you change the vibe. A woman may not always express her feelings through words, but her energy rarely lies. One of the strongest yet often overlooked signs that a woman secretly likes you is when she begins to mirror your emotional state and overall energy. When you're upbeat, she becomes more animated. When you're calm and reflective, she slows her pace to match yours. When you're quiet, she doesn't panic. She adapts. Her emotional rhythm syncs with yours because her subconscious wants connection, not control. This is not just mimicry, this is energetic alignment. It is the body and soul's way of saying, I feel safe with you. I want to stay in step with you. And as any high-value man knows, the deepest form of attraction doesn't come from loud signals. It comes from this silent synchronization. The modern Stoic understands this principle. When a woman adjusts herself to your vibe without you asking, it means she's chosen to enter your emotional frame. And once she's inside that frame, everything else begins to shift in your favor. Let's break it down. You're normally outgoing and playful, but one evening you show up quieter, more introspective. Most people would try to fix that or ask what's wrong, but not her. She softens. She doesn't force chatter. She meets your energy without needing answers. That's emotional intelligence. That's attraction showing itself through adaptation. And when she does it often, not just once, you can bet this isn't coincidence. This is emotional mirroring rooted in deep feminine interest. Why does this matter? Because women are hyper-attuned to energy. They feel it before they analyze it. They're not just listening to your words, they're feeling your presence. So when a woman mirrors that presence instinctively, she's unconsciously prioritizing emotional harmony with you. She doesn't even realize it's happening, but she feels it, and so do you. Take a real-world example. You're in a group setting, telling a funny story. You're animated, your gestures big, your voice projecting. Watch her. Is she leaning forward? Are her expressions amplifying as yours do? Is her laughter a half second behind yours, echoing your vibe? That's not just social behavior. That's synchronization. And it becomes even more obvious when the situation changes. Imagine later that night, the mood becomes slower, more intimate. You start to speak more softly, reflectively. Does she stay with you? Does her voice lower? Does her pace slow to mirror yours? If so, she's not just following you, she's attuning to you. That's the body's way of saying, I want to stay close. I trust where this is going. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This truth applies to relationships as well. A Stoic man doesn't change his emotional frequency to match others. He stays grounded. And the woman who is truly drawn to him will rise or soften to meet that frequency, often without realizing why. Let's also be clear. Mirroring isn't just about tone and pace. It's about emotional depth. If you're vulnerable, she becomes more open. If you're in problem-solving mode, she engages with clarity. If you're light-hearted, she becomes playful. She mirrors your emotional intent, not to manipulate, but to align. This is not performance. It's presence. Now, how should you respond? Not with cockiness, not by testing her, but by recognizing that she's entering your world and rewarding that with consistency. Stay composed. Stay authentic. Don't fake a vibe to manipulate her into adapting. Instead, let your genuine state of being become the gravity that pulls her into deeper rapport. The beauty of this sign is in its subtlety. There are no grand gestures, no over-the-top behaviors, just two energies quietly harmonizing. And if you're wise enough to see it, you'll realize you've already started building something real before a single serious word has ever been spoken. Quote to remember, when we are no longer able to change a situation, We are challenged to change ourselves. Viktor Frankl. And when she chooses to change her energy to match yours, even in silence, that's not strategy. That's surrender. That's attraction in its purest, most stoic form. Sign 12. She gets nervous around you, even if she tries to hide it. One of the most unexpected but undeniable signs that a woman secretly likes you is this. She gets nervous in your presence. Her voice may quiver slightly. She might fidget with her jewelry, play with her hair, stumble on her words, or even avoid eye contact briefly. Not because she's disinterested, but because she's overwhelmed by how much she cares about your perception of her. This nervousness is not weakness. It is emotional vulnerability under pressure. Her attraction to you has crossed from subconscious to conscious, and now her mind is scrambling to manage the response. Why? Because you're no longer just another man. You are now someone whose opinion, gaze, and presence matter. And that realization makes her body react, even when her mind tries to stay composed. Many men mistake this for disinterest. They think, she seems distant, or she's acting weird. But the modern Stoic knows better. He reads beneath the surface. He sees that nervousness is not rejection. It's actually a high-level sign of emotional investment. As Epictetus wrote, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And when she's reacting nervously to your presence, it means you've already impacted her internal world. Let's paint the picture. You walk into the room and suddenly she's adjusting her posture. She starts talking faster or slower. She stumbles while reaching for something. Her laugh is a little louder or more frequent than usual. These are all manifestations of adrenaline, her body's way of coping with emotional excitement. This is no different than stage fright. But instead of performing for a crowd, she's emotionally performing for you. That's how much your energy influences her nervous system. Another real-life scenario, you ask her a simple question, how her weekend was, and she begins to ramble. She backtracks. She over-explains. That's not boredom. That's not overthinking. That's attraction trying to present itself as normal, but failing. Because when attraction is genuine, it rarely looks polished. It looks raw, unfiltered, unsteady. Women often mask this nervousness by redirecting energy. She might laugh more than usual. She might ask you lots of questions to shift the focus back to you. She might tease you playfully, not to provoke, but to level the emotional playing field. And if she truly likes you, she'll be torn between wanting to impress you and fearing she's already giving too much away. Here's the Stoic angle. Do not expose her vulnerability. Don't call out her nervousness. Don't use it to inflate your ego. Instead, create safety. Ease the tension, slow down the pace, speak clearly and calmly. The more stable your presence, the faster her anxiety transforms into trust. And once she feels emotionally safe with you, she'll open up faster than with any man who chased her confidence instead of calming her nervous system. Remember this. Nervousness is rooted in hope. She's nervous because she wants something to happen, and she's afraid of messing it up. That means you've already made an impact. That means you already hold emotional gravity. Now, be careful not to confuse true nervousness with disinterest or emotional unavailability. Nervousness is paired with engagement. She still shows up, still listens, still responds. She might avoid prolonged eye contact, but she's near. Her body stays present, even if her words come out sideways. That's the sign. She's in orbit, even if her flight path is wobbly. Quote to remember: the sign of a beautiful person is that they always see beauty in others. Omar Suleiman. And if she's nervous around you, it's because she sees something beautiful in you, and she hopes you'll see the same in her. Sign 13. She shows genuine jealousy, but tries to hide it. There's a moment when a woman's composure begins to crack. Not because she's weak, but because she's emotionally invested. One of the clearest, most revealing signs that a woman secretly likes you is this. She gets jealous, but works hard to disguise it. Her tone shifts when you mention another woman. Her energy dips when someone else commands your attention. Her eyes scan you for clues. not with entitlement, but with quiet intensity. And then she quickly recovers, pretends it didn't faze her. But you saw it, you felt it, and now you know she cares. This isn't toxic jealousy, the kind that comes with insecurity or control. This is silent, emotional protectiveness. It's not that she wants to own you, it's that her feelings are now tied to your presence, and any perceived threat to that connection activates her instincts. She may not even know why she's feeling it, but she feels it nonetheless. And if you're attuned to her, you'll catch it every time. The Stoic man never mocks or exploits this. He observes. He honors it as a sign of depth. He remains composed because he knows when jealousy is present, so is attachment. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." And make no mistake, when a woman feels jealousy, it's because she's started to love something about your presence, even if she hasn't admitted it to herself. Let's get specific. You're talking about a female friend, purely platonically. Her face doesn't flinch, but her energy shifts. She suddenly checks her phone. Her responses become clipped, her eye contact breaks. A few minutes later, she's fine again, laughing, engaging. But there was a moment, a flicker, a freeze. That was the truth. And the modern Stoic always catches the moment the truth escapes the mask. Or maybe you're out socially, and another woman compliments you. You see it in her body, a slight tightening in her jaw, the way her smile disappears for half a second, the subtle repositioning of her body closer to yours. She won't say anything. She may even joke about it, but inside she's burning, not with rage, but with recognition. You are valuable, and someone else just noticed it too. Jealousy isn't weakness when it's restrained. In fact, in women, it often means she's trying to remain dignified while wrestling with rising emotions. She wants to keep her cool, but her protective instincts are louder than her logic, and the more she fights to conceal it, the more obvious it becomes to the man who sees through performance into presence. Now here's the key. Don't use it against her. Don't provoke it to gain power. That's immature. That's manipulative. Instead, respect the risk she's taking. She's showing vulnerability. She's revealing that her heart is no longer detached. She feels something worth guarding, and you are now inside that guarded space. What should you do? Stay calm. Don't gloat. Let her know, through subtle energy, that she's the one who has your attention. You don't need to say it directly. A slight touch on her hand, a look that holds for an extra beat, a sentence like, "You're the one I'm really focused on right now," said in the right moment, will dissolve the tension and deepen the bond. The modern Stoic doesn't fear jealousy. He understands it. He knows that when a woman starts to protect the space you share, emotionally, socially, energetically, she's already invested more than she planned. And that's your cue to respond not with games, but with grounded presence. Quote to remember, "Where there is love, there is jealousy." Aristotle. And when a woman silently fights to stay composed in the face of competition, it's because her heart has already chosen you, and her pride is struggling to catch up. Sign 14. She tries to improve herself around you without you ever asking. One of the most powerful yet deeply misunderstood signs that a woman secretly likes you is this. She begins to elevate herself around you, physically, mentally, emotionally, not because you told her to, but because your presence inspires it. She dresses differently. She speaks more thoughtfully. She takes more care with her words, her actions, even her goals. And you never had to say a word. Why? Because admiration always fuels transformation. This is not about changing who she is to impress you. It's about becoming more of who she wants to be, because your energy challenges her to level up. She may start working out again, reading more, setting boundaries, healing wounds, or taking bolder steps in her personal life. And if you're watching closely, you'll notice she attributes this shift not to some random event, but to you. This is one of the clearest signs of emotional magnetism, when someone starts growing just by being near you. Let's go deeper. The feminine heart is deeply responsive. It responds to masculine clarity, presence, and grounded leadership. When a woman is drawn to a man who lives with purpose and self-respect, she feels pulled to match that frequency. She doesn't want to be left behind. She wants to rise to stand beside him, not out of desperation, but out of deep internal admiration. This is what sets high-value men apart. You don't have to coach her. You don't have to fix her. You just embody your values with such consistency that your presence becomes a quiet challenge. And the woman who secretly likes you will accept that challenge with actions, not words. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And when you do, the right woman will feel it, and she will start reshaping her world accordingly, even if she never tells you outright why." Let's bring this into reality. Maybe you talk about how much you value discipline, getting up early, working out, controlling emotions. She doesn't say much, but a few days later, you notice she's changed her morning routine. Or you talk about the power of reading and self-reflection. And now she's asking for book recommendations. You don't preach, you don't instruct, you simply observe, and you realize your presence has quietly rewritten her standards. Or maybe it's more subtle. You mention that you respect women who carry themselves with grace and self-awareness. Suddenly she becomes more intentional in how she speaks, how she listens, how she reacts emotionally. You never judged her. You never told her to change. But your energy gave her a silent reason to evolve. And that evolution is attraction at its highest form. Why? Because it's rooted not in lust, but in respect. When a woman starts improving herself because she's inspired by you, that is not shallow interest. It's deep emotional recognition. She sees in you a standard, a mirror, a possibility. And instead of just desiring you physically, she starts preparing herself to be with a man like you. That's rare. That's real. That's where desire becomes devotion. The modern Stoic doesn't brag about this. He doesn't take credit for someone else's growth. He simply recognizes that when you live with intention, you create a ripple effect in everyone around you, especially in the hearts that are drawn to you most. So when you notice she's dressing better, speaking deeper, setting stronger boundaries, or upgrading her life, and you never asked for it, that's not random. That's a sign she's already placing you in her future, even if she hasn't said it out loud. Quote to remember: "When the student is ready, the teacher appears." Lao Tzu. But in love, when the energy is real, the woman evolves. Not because she needs to, but because she wants to rise beside the man who has already risen. Modern Stoic relationship. Wisdom. The hidden truth about attraction in today's world. Let's step back from the science for a moment and speak directly, turn man to man. In the modern world, relationships have become more complicated than ever. Social media blurs reality. Dating apps flood the market with illusions of choice. People are more connected, yet more emotionally distant. Ghosting, breadcrumbing, hot and cold behavior. It's all part of the new dating landscape. And yet, through all this noise, one truth remains unchanged. Genuine attraction is still rooted in presence, clarity, and emotional strength. You see, modern women are constantly surrounded by men who try too hard. Men who overshare, over-pursue, and over-invest before attraction has truly been earned. These men lead with validation. They confuse attention for interest and assume that fast replies and non-stop availability will win hearts. But the reality? That behavior repels more than it attracts, because deep down, women out, especially the emotionally mature ones, are not looking for more noise. They are looking for a signal, a man who moves differently, a man who doesn't chase validation because he already knows his value, a man who listens more than he talks, observes more than he assumes, and controls himself more than he tries to control outcomes. That is what separates you, the modern Stoic, from the masses. In today's world, attraction is no longer just about looks or money. Yes, those things matter. But what matters even more is energy. Your ability to remain calm when she's emotional, your ability to stay mysterious when the world overshares, your ability to walk away, not in bitterness, but in strength, when you're not being respected. That's what creates polarity. That's what draws the right woman in and filters out the wrong ones. Here's what you need to remember. Attraction isn't something you manufacture. It's something you uncover by removing everything that weakens your masculine presence. That means letting go of approval seeking, letting go of trying to impress, letting go of the urge to explain yourself constantly. Instead, you move through the world with silent confidence. You stay focused on your purpose. You speak with intention. You lead with energy, not desperation. And the right woman will feel that long before she understands it. You must also understand this. Insecure men chase. Powerful men attract. If you're always asking, "What does she think of me?" then you've already lost your frame. A Stoic man asks, "What do I think of her behaviour?" He observes the signs, not from a place of neediness, but from a place of discernment. He does not attach to fantasy. He reads reality. And he never forces what isn't freely offered. Modern dating will test your patience. It will tempt you to act emotionally. It will pressure you to play games. But don't fall into that trap. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to move with power, purpose, and peace. And that peace is your advantage. In a world where most people react, you respond. Where most people over-explain, you say less and mean more. Where most people chase, you draw in. And when a woman truly feels that energy calm, composed, non-reactive, it shakes something in her. It wakes up her feminine instinct to lean in, to pursue you in ways she never does with weaker men. Because you've become rare. You've become real. You've become the emotional mountain in a world full of shifting sand. So take all the signs you've learned. The lingering eye contact, the subtle touches, the mirrored body language, the emotional vulnerability, the soft jealousy, and use them not as confirmation of your worth, but as a reflection of your presence. You don't need them to feel valuable. You observe them to stay aware. If she shows these signs, lean in, but stay grounded. If she doesn't, let go, but stay whole. Because your worth was never dependent on her response. It was forged in your solitude, your discipline, and your control over yourself. Final quote to remember. He who is not a slave to his emotions will become the master of every room he enters. Unknown. And that is the quiet truth most men never learn.